Could Caitlin Clark demand a trade from the Indiana Fever? 6 months ago, that question would have seemed completely unthinkable. Today it doesn't, because what has happened inside that organization this season has gone beyond bad coaching decisions and questionable rotations. We are watching a systematic failure at every level of the Indiana Fever to support and protect their own star player. The clipboard incident, the benching, the GM blocking fans, the injury mismanagement, the WNBA warning, and Clark's own post-game message that told everyone watching exactly where she stands. The signs are all pointing in the same direction, and tonight we're going to connect every single dot. Let's start with what happened against Portland. Indiana was winning. Clark had 3 assists in the first 3 minutes of the game. She was controlling the tempo, creating offense, doing exactly what she's supposed to do. And at 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the first quarter, Stephanie White pulled her. Not because Clark was struggling, not because she was in foul trouble, not because of anything that was happening on the floor. White pulled her because that's what she does. Every game, same time, same pattern, regardless of momentum, regardless of what Clark is producing.
This app, I'm on the right side of this issue, okay? And then he also had this today. He had a bunch of things.
While Clark sat on that bench, Portland went on a 13-2 run that flipped the entire game upside down. Indiana was up 8-4 when Clark left the floor. By the time she came back, they were down 17-10. The Fever never recovered. And when a reporter asked White why she pulled Clark at that moment, her answer was that it's just her typical substitution pattern. Not a tactical decision, not a response to what was happening in the game, a pattern. Caitlin Clark gets pulled at the same time every game, regardless of what she is doing on the floor. That is not player management, that is negligence. But the substitution pattern is just one piece of a much larger picture. Because what happened after that substitution on the Portland bench is what really tells you where this relationship stands. After White benched Clark, the two had a visible exchange on the sideline. White got in Clark's face. Clark threw her hands up. White slammed her clipboard. And then, the most telling moment of the entire night happened. Clark turned to Aaliyah Boston, and the two of them sat together on that bench, whispering to each other while chaos unfolded around them.
Go on in the Indiana Fever organization led by Amber Cox, clown show, Kelly Krauskopf, clown show, and the bozo of all bozos, head coach Stephanie White, who's just, all of them, they are just sabotaging.
2 franchise players whispering on the bench while their coach plays 11 different players in one quarter, and the game falls apart in real time. That image captures everything about where the Indiana Fever are right now. And Clark's response at the post-game press conference made it even clearer. A reporter asked her about the officiating, about whether the rule changes were affecting how Indiana plays defensively. Clark had 5 fouls in that game. The easy answer was to talk about the refs. Instead, she looked directly at that camera and said 4 words. Officiating wasn't my problem tonight. She wasn't talking about the referees. Everyone in that room knew exactly what she was talking about. Now let's zoom out, because this isn't just about one bad game or one clipboard incident. This is a pattern that has been building all season long. White played Clark 37 minutes in an overtime game against Washington, despite Clark dealing with back soreness. Clark missed the next game with a back injury. The WNBA issued a formal warning to the Indiana Fever about how they handled that injury report. White has consistently overworked Clark, mismanaged her minutes, and created situations that have directly impacted her health and performance. And when Clark pushes back, when she shows any frustration on that bench, White's response is to bench her and insert Raven Johnson, a player who fouled out in 9 minutes against Portland. The defensive scheme is making everything worse. The Fever switch 1 through 5 on defense, meaning they put guards on centers and create mismatches that opposing teams exploit all game long. This isn't a fan observation. This is what the broadcast pointed out in real time during the game. When the people calling the game are explaining your defensive liabilities to a national audience in real time, that is not a coaching strategy. That is a problem. And Caitlin Clark is absorbing the consequences of that problem every single night. She is getting physically targeted, getting trapped and double-teamed, fighting through screens, and then coming to the bench to get yelled at for defensive breakdowns that involve the entire team. Clark is being singled out while the systemic problems created by the coaching staff go unaddressed. And here is where the situation goes from concerning to genuinely alarming. Because it's not just the coaching decisions that are failing Caitlin Clark, it's the entire organization. GM Amber Cox has been on social media blocking Caitlin Clark fans who criticize the roster construction. She blocked Jason Whitlock for pointing out the obvious failures of this front office. And when Clark's absence from a game became a bigger story than Indiana's win, Cox posted mockingly at fans online. The general manager of the Indiana Fever is going to war with the fan base that Caitlin Clark built. Think about that for a moment. The same fans who made the Fever must see television. The same fans who are filling arenas and buying jerseys and watching every single game. Cox is blocking them and mocking them because they have the audacity to point out that this organization is failing its star player.
Damn job, where the fuck are you at? Where are you? Where are you? Are you gonna do something, or are you gonna sit here and act like you don't see this crap that's going on? Do you not see what's going on right now?
The Indiana Fever were becoming America's team. Must-see television every single night. Caitlin Clark was delivering moments that nobody had ever seen before in women's basketball. She was breaking records, filling arenas, changing the conversation around the entire sport. And this organization has responded to that by mismanaging her health, benching her at the wrong moments, yelling at her on the bench, blocking her fans, and making tactical decisions that consistently undermine her ability to perform. This is what the signs are pointing to. Not one bad game, not one coaching mistake. A systematic failure at every level of the organization to support and protect the most important player this league has ever seen. So, could Caitlin Clark demand a trade? Let's look at what we know. Her relationship with Stephanie White has visibly broken down. She has been singled out, yelled at, and benched at the worst possible moments all season. The front office GM is blocking her fans and mocking them online. The defensive scheme is creating liabilities that opposing teams exploit every game. The WNBA issued a formal warning about how this organization handled her injury. And Clark herself sat at a post-game press conference and told everyone watching that her problem tonight had nothing to do with the referees. Every single sign is pointing in the same direction. And Clark has not committed to a long-term deal with this organization. Think about what every other franchise does with their star player. Dallas leans into Paige Buchers. They build around her, they protect her, they make decisions with her best interest at the center of everything. Las Vegas builds around Aja Wilson. The entire organization exists to put Wilson in the best possible position to succeed. And then there's Indiana, where the head coach yells at Clark on the bench, plays 11 players in a quarter, and benches her during winning stretches. Where the GM blocks fans for asking legitimate questions. Where the front office makes roster decisions that leave Clark isolated on an island night after night. Caitlin Clark deserves better than this. She has done more for this organization, for this league, for women's basketball than anyone in the history of the sport. She has earned the right to play for an organization that actually supports her. And right now, the Indiana Fever are not that organization. The signs have been building all season. The clipboard incident, the benching, the 13-2 run, the GM blocking fans, the injury mismanagement, the WNBA warning, Clark's post-game message. Every single sign is pointing toward the same question. And it's a question that Caitlin Clark's camp needs to be asking right now. Is Indiana the right place for the greatest player this league has ever seen? Because based on everything we have watched this season, the answer is becoming harder and harder to defend. What do you think? Should Caitlin Clark demand a trade from the Indiana Fever? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more breakdowns like this on everything happening with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We'll see you in the next one.